So I had the absolute pleasure of going to PAX West 2025 this year, and I wasn't able to go for long. I did manage to get a good couple of games around there, and I just really wanted to talk about it because my overall trip to Seattle was extremely chaotic, and it was the definition of what could go wrong, and then everything goes wrong, and that deserves its own video by itself. So this whole video is just gonna be a sort of topic Arlo style video where I just kind of talk about what I got to see, all the cool things that I came across at PAX, and I just really want to get all of this off of my mind, really. So let's begin. The first game that I saw was this indie game called Cornucopia. I didn't get to play it, but the demo just looked really interesting to me. It looks like, on the surface, it looks like one of those 2D, 3D type of games with this like farming kind of aspect, like your basic, I don't want to say Stardew Valley, but that will probably make the most sense, like that Stardew Valley kind of look. But something about this style just really caught my eye, and I was like, okay, I'll take the cards, I will shoot, I'll take it. And they had a coupon. They had a 20% off on Steam code, and I was like, you know what? I'll take it. This looks amazing. But yeah, I mean, I didn't get to see too much information about this game, but I could tell this will probably be another heavy hitter for the cozy genre. If it is a cozy game, you never know. Could be something else in there. Another weird game I saw gameplay of, but I wasn't able to get everything about it, was a game called Swap Meet, which is already an amazing name by itself. But again, there were so many lines at PAX, right? There was so much going on. I wasn't really able to step in and talk to as many indie devs as I had hoped, but this game looks funky and I vibe with it. I grabbed one of the cards for this one because I was like, wow, this is so cool. And I also saw that they had a photo booth, which I regret not even going in. Again, I didn't have a lot of time, and that really sucked, but I got some stuff to talk about. You know what I mean? But this is another game that I'm gonna be keeping my eye on, because I was just like, oh, okay, I'll be there for that. Another game that really caught my eye, right? And I accidentally recorded this in slow-mo, so the footage might look a little off. But it was this rhythm game with absolutely beautiful pixel art called Away From Home. And again, I didn't get to play it, but I did record this trailer that was playing at the booth because this looks beautiful, right? It has this charm that just like really caught my eye, right? I don't know. This art style, beautiful. I really like the font choices that they used, and this gameplay just looks fire. It just looks like a rhythm game that is gonna like catch my eye, and I'm gonna be so intrigued by once it comes out. I really wish I got to play a demo, or I really wish I got to talk to the devs for this one, but it is what it is. It is what it is. I'm gonna keep my eyes out for this for sure. I also got to see some gameplay of Fraymakers, which is like Smash Brothers, but for indie games. And I didn't get to play. There were a lot of people waiting to play, but I did get to record some gameplay footage, and this just looks so good. I've been wanting to play this game for so long, and I haven't gotten around to it. I don't even know if it's out, but it looks so good. It looks so smooth. I'm in love with it. But the first game that I was able to play was actually right around the corner from Fraymakers, and it was Rivals of Aether 2, which I didn't expect to even see at PAX, so this was a very pleasant surprise. They had custom GameCube controllers out with the characters on them, and that's how I knew, yep, amazing. At first I was being a little shy, right? There were two guys playing, and I saw two controllers left on the table, and I was like, oh, I'll just record a little bit of footage. But then it hit me, I'm at a convention. I'm gonna play me some Rivals of Aether 2. And I did, right? And I have opinions. Okay, first of all, this game looks absolutely beautiful. I fear that the setup that they gave us was not the best, which is so upsetting because they had GameCube controllers out and a big TV. What else is there, right? Game is gorgeous. I absolutely love the visuals. It looks fantastic and I love everything about it. But it might have been the controller I got, but there was this massive input delay, which it can't be the game's fault for the input delay. It's gotta have been the way that the controllers were plugged in or something. I don't know what it is, but it made it really difficult to play it. But honestly, besides the input delay, this was so much fun, especially because I was playing with a bunch of strangers who were all here to just have a good time. And it really felt like when you play Smash Brothers for the first time, where you kind of understand the basics because, you know, it's a Smash Brothers like a game, but you don't understand like the characters or the moves in general. So that was just a lot of fun. And the people I was playing with were also just super nice. And did it convince me to buy Rivals of Aether 2? I don't know for sure because I don't know who I'd play it with. But if I do have people to play it with, I might actually pick this up because I was a huge fan of the original Rivals of Aether. I played that like crazy back in the day. So I will be keeping my eyes on Rivals of Aether 2. Next we move on to the actual heavy hitters. This is what I came here for. The Nintendo booth. Now, I was not able to play Kirby Air Riders or Pokemon ZA. Unfortunately, I missed out on the Warp Pipe Pass thing, but I was kind of okay with it just because the line was so insanely long at that booth, and it was just as long in the regular Nintendo booth, right? It was a little crazy. The wait time in this line was 2 hours long. And at this point, my friends have gotten pretty tired. They already did a loop way quicker than I did. They were out doing their own thing, and my fiance joined me in the Nintendo Switch 2 line. And I knew, you know what? This is probably the last booth I'm gonna stop at. After 2 hours of waiting and waiting, I was handed a little card with the games on it that we are able to play, which is Final Fantasy VII Intergrade, Hades 2, Elden Ring, Borderlands 4, and Silksong. Now, by the time this video comes out, Silksong is already out, and I didn't feel like I had to play Silksong, right? Silksong was gonna come out in just a few days when this was coming out, and I was like, I can skip out on it. I also, for time purposes, decided to miss out on playing Hades 2, and I did not feel bad about missing out on Elden Ring because there was nobody, and I mean nobody, playing Elden Ring. For so long. I managed to get a picture of one person playing Elden Ring, and some people on Twitter thought that was really funny. But I did play FF7 Remake and Borderlands 4, which don't come out for a little bit, so I'm gonna talk about these. Borderlands 4, right? I personally am a very casual Borderlands fan. I've played all of them, but I've never played the entirety of all of them, right? I've enjoyed the time that I've had with the Borderlands franchise, but I'm not like die hard, if you know what I mean. I saw a lot of gameplay of it on Twitter and TikTok and other places of people playing the demo at PAX a few days prior, and I thought this looks really solid, actually. It's actually, you can't really say for a Switch 2 game because the Switch 2 is powerful, right? The Switch 2 is so much powerful than anyone really thinks it is. And I'm so used to saying, oh, for a Switch game, this looks great. But for a Switch 2 game, yeah, the footage I saw looked pretty solid, you know? Anyway, I got in line and there was a Borderlands employee who was standing right next to all of the TVs. And he came up to me and he was like, oh, hey, like, are you familiar with the franchise? I told him a little bit, and we had a good conversation, and I was just saying, you know, I'm mostly here to see how Borderlands 4 really runs on the Switch 2. I just want to see how it runs, is basically what I said. And like clockwork, I didn't say anything about performance. All I said was, I just want to see how it runs. And he puts his hands up and he's like, well,
On getting this, I just really wanted to know how it played on the Switch. So how it plays on the Switch, so we are going to make sure that it runs on 30.
Okay.
Unless you're in heavy combat, then it's going to be 25.
Okay.
25.
That's still pretty good.
However, you gotta like really like.
Yeah.
You gotta be like breaking the game to get into it.
Yeah.
Or like there's like 50 enemies on the screen.
For sure. I mean, playing it in handheld mode is just a bonus, honestly.
Oh yeah, it's great. I've done it. It's great. You can't do it here, but you can do it. It's still fun.
For sure.
Just so you know, we are working on making sure the game runs at a stable 30. And you will really, really have to push the game to make you have to be killing so many enemies on screen for the game to go under 25. Which is not something you immediately want to hear when you're waiting to play a game. And so I was like, okay, interesting. So they know that the performance is a little iffy because in the gameplay I saw online, visually it looked amazing, but there was a lot of frame drops, or at least like quick little freezes that last like half a second. So I expected that. But I didn't expect him to immediately be like, just so you know, we're working on it. Okay. Didn't realize he probably had so many people ask him that day about performance or whatever. But I did get to play it. And unfortunately, it didn't look as good in person. My camera makes it look way better than it does look, but my camera is also recording at 30 frames, so you can see a little bit better how the performance actually is and how the frame rate is kind of a bit all over the place. The visuals were very muddy, and I don't think my camera captures that enough. It was very muddy, which is a crazy thing to achieve with the art style of Borderlands. But I was willing to brush it off, right? I did my entire 15-minute long demo. I got used to the controls. I died a lot because, you know, of course I did. But once I felt like I finally got a good grasp on how to play the game is when I really noticed how bad this frame rate is. And I usually give like games that have 30 frames a good pass, because 30 frames, if the game is like stable enough and it looks good enough, it really isn't that big of a deal to me. And we'll get to that because FF7 Remake ran at 30 and it was beautiful. But this game was so inconsistent and it made it just a bit iffier with the default controls that we were given were like very low sensitivity wise. So I just felt very sluggish playing this demo. And the game itself, really fun, hella fun. I absolutely loved the way that this game controls, and I love the idea of it, right? It's just, I'm really excited to play Borderlands 4, but I don't think I will be playing it on Switch 2 if it performs like this. And I know he said they were working on it, so I do hope that improves, because I would love to just play this on Switch instead of like my Legion Go or something, just because it would be lighter. But oh man, in its current state, it doesn't feel like a amazing demo to have at PAX, but I am glad I got to try it out. I was also informed that it won't have crossplay right off the bat, which was a huge part of why I wanted to play Borderlands 4 on Switch originally, because I'd be able to, you know, have it portably, sit on the couch, play with my fiance, you know what I mean? But no crossplay at launch, and it also launches a little bit later than other platforms, which is still frustrating. But I'm assuming this is all for polish, right? It's all for polish, and it will hopefully run better when it comes out, and I hope that's the case, because I would really like to play it on Switch 2, but currently I think I'm going to be playing it on my Legion Go instead. My fiance also got to try it out, and he is really big on Destiny 2. If you see my other videos, you know he's like really into Destiny. He has like 5,000 hours in Destiny 2, alright? This is more his genre than it is mine. And he told me he didn't really like it, but it was mostly because of the sensitivity that we were given by default on the controllers, and that frame rate was just not That frame rate was not ideal, especially when you do play it or play similar games on other platforms where it's like a 60, you know? I don't know. It was alright. And I just hope it's better. I hope it's good when it comes out on Switch 2, because I really want more of these like highly anticipated titles to come out on the Switch 2. Even if it's a few weeks apart, you know, it's still coming out around the same time. I don't know. I think it's time to move on. The final game that I played at PAX was Final Fantasy VII Remake Intergrade. And thankfully, I already played Rebirth like a few weeks ago. And I was just ready to jump in. And let me tell you, this game, I was so pleasantly surprised at how beautiful it looks and how stable it ran. This game was like near perfect, right? And I say near because the only visual inconsistency I could see was the hair is a little low quality. It was a little, is dithery the right word? I'm gonna say dithery. But besides the hair, which really is not a big deal because I played the original remake on Steam Deck, right? It was already pretty low quality. This shit is gorgeous. This game ran with not a single issue. The only issue I had playing was getting used to the swapped buttons because, you know, Xbox and frickin' Nintendo buttons are different. And that was it. This might be, if the entire game runs as good as this demo, this could be one of the best ways to play FF7 Remake, right? Steam Deck, good, but I wasn't able to play it docked without it looking bad. Legion Go, also good, but it was again, it's like a little iffy when you dock it. I assume it's going to run even better in handheld mode at a lower resolution, right? But the fact that it looks this good docked, I am absolutely mind blown at how good Square Enix was at this port, right? It is so crazy. It is, this is a good demo to have at a gaming convention. Cause all I've been hearing was about how Elden Ring just runs like garbage, right? And I really didn't want to sit through the Elden Ring demo. And in the handheld mode area, they had Nintendo employees like huddling over people playing the Elden Ring demo, so I assume we're still not allowed to really record it. I just didn't want to deal with it. And Borderlands 4 was already a bit disappointing. I just feel, right, like I'm at this booth, we have Elden Ring, which is running terribly, it seems, and it doesn't seem as anticipated because nobody was playing it. And then we have Borderlands 4, which was running kind of mid, to me unplayable, but in general mid. Hades and Silksong run amazing, right? But out of Elden Ring, Borderlands, and Final Fantasy VII, Final Fantasy VII Remake was the only one of these like huge, power heavy, like, you know what I mean, right? These are really big when it comes to power and visuals and stuff like that in this 3D environment. And FF7 Remake was the only one at this booth that did not have a single problem. Every problem was just me being nitpicky. I 100% will be playing this when it comes out on Switch, but I will admit I am still a little concerned about how Rebirth will run on the Switch 2, because they've hinted that the whole trilogy might be coming to the Switch 2. But maybe that's a hill that we just have to get to, or however the saying is, because this was beautiful. I wanted to play so much more of this, but I knew that everyone around me was tired and ready to go, and I was like, let me finish up this demo and I'm good. And you can even see in this video, like, it looks as good as my camera made it look. I don't know. I feel, right, even though I didn't get to get my hands on every single game at PAX, from frickin' Cornucopia to Away From Home, and even Swap Meet, right? I played some really solid games at PAX this year, and I am very excited to see what happens next year. I wasn't super I wasn't as excited, right, for PAX this year as I was previous years, because there wasn't anything, like, there wasn't a lot of massive heavy hitters. Earlier in this video, I showed a clip of the Resident Evil booth, which the line capped for that within the first minute of PAX opening. And so there was big stuff like Capcom was there, Nintendo was there, and freaking Larian Studios had a huge Baldur's Gate booth, and there was a lot of stuff like that was just amazing. When it came to games, there wasn't anything I was like super anticipating. So this Nintendo booth really made up for it, right? And also playing Rivals 2 with strangers was really fun, and I had a really good time. I had a really good time, even though my time was cut short. Anyway, I think that's all I got. I really need to talk about my trip to Seattle, because if you've been keeping up with my YouTube studio stuff, you might have seen that I got a flat tire in the middle of nowhere. Like, okay, it was not a flat tire. That tire fucking exploded, right? My tire blew up on our last day when we were heading home, and we had to stay at a Super 8, and then that Super 8 had running water and roaches on the walls, and then we had to get a second room, and then I woke up with a bunch of bug bites, and then we had to end up at a freaking Les Schwab to get our tire replaced in the morning. And then we got another flat tire, and then we got a crack on the windshield, and it was just so much fun on the last day. But anyway, I'm going to be making a Seattle vlog that goes through everything I did on this trip, right? And this was just me kind of rambling about everything I played to keep it separate, because I had a lot of opinions on the games that I played. And that was originally going to be the focus of the vlog, but now it's not. Anyway, thank you for everyone's concerns for when I was live tweeting my blown up tire experience. And I just really hope you all have a great weekend or day, whenever it is. I hope you have a good day. And I will see you next week for another video. Bye bye!